something to do in my retirement.
Okay, we got anything else under unfinished business? Okay, let's move on to pre-filed resolutions.
Resolution number 53, accepting grant for Summer Better Than Others Camp, Chautauqua County.
Any discussion, council? Okay, hearing none, 55.
54, resolution
I'm sorry,
authorizing
54.
pro-housing communities pledge supporting quality, affordable and varied housing for Dunkirk's future.
Any discussion, council?
Yeah,
Yes.
I thought it would be a good idea to ask Vince, explain the importance of this pledge in regards to how companies are interested in this information because of the workforce they need to assemble or sustain.
You're asking me, I'm sorry.
I thought it would be good for you to explain the importance of this pledge in regards to how companies are interested in this information
Absolutely.
because of a workforce they need.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you very much. This is a new directive that came from Governor Hochul to address the shortage of housing that's available. And it's basically a pledge that we will be very supportive of new housing opportunities here in Dunkirk. We start with a resolution, a letter of intent, and then we would provide some permitting data to the state. And basically they go through the certification process. And what this would mean is when there are grant opportunities that have any type of housing component to it, we would be given extra points and scoring and give us a better opportunity to be awarded some grant funding. But it's basically a pledge to be supportive of new single-family, owner-occupied, the supportive of new workforce-type housing, because as Councilwoman Skoviak mentioned, the very first question that the mayor and Mike and I received when Wells walked into his office is, what are you going to do about housing there? You know, what's your plan? And you know, we laid out a number of different development plans that we have in the works, and they're very pleased to hear it. And just to let you know, we had a very good meeting with a private developer to do some market rate new housing starts here in Dunkirk. So we have a lot of opportunity and we have a lot of enthusiasm from developers, and we're just going to, this will help codify that we are supportive of new housing.
Great, thank you very much.
I think during the meeting I'm going to have Edwin read the resolution in its entirety, only because all our names are on it and I was not asked if I would sponsor this at all, and I know Jidge was not either. But it's important how this just seems to just have surfaced without us knowing about it prior, and a lot of the stuff that's in this resolution is based on a lot of the projects through DRI. And my concern basically is constructing new, not tear down old, that's been in existence. Where would your developer be placing all these new housing units that we so desperately need? That's a concern.
Well, there's a number of sites. There's a site for a larger project that's basically in the DRI footprint. As you may have seen when you went last week, one of the projects from Regan Development and some other downtown type of projects that we're looking at for housing, whether it's the Dunkirk Macaroni Company or Ehlers or the bank across the street. And there's some other ones that we really can't disclose right at the moment because they haven't really put forward any type of proposal, just kind of throwing things out there today, you know, looking at some opportunities for some private development. So there's plenty of.
So there's a possibility that some of our vacant brownfields would be open, even though you can't dig for some of those.
Well, not necessarily brownfields. I wouldn't characterize that because, you know, to do housing on a brownfield takes significant cleanup effort that would take years.
Yeah.
And what we've done,
but we're looking at many available parcels around the city.
Okay, just think it's a coincidence that this comes up when it's just tying in
Well,
with
this
the DRI.
came up last week when we put together the resolution. It was sent to us, this pro-housing communities, and sent it to the mayor and Mike, and they both felt it was a very good idea. And, you know, we followed their template for a resolution. Maybe Mike might want to comment too.
And I would just mention that the executive order only came out mid-July. And so this is really kind of brand new. And relative to having your names on it, I apologize for that. I mean, and I think, you know, so I apologize that your
That's
name's
okay.
on there, and
Sure.
that if you prefer
Well,
not to be on,
I mean, I had the pleasure of attending Natalie's economic development meeting yesterday, and I could read through the brochure that Vince had handed out to everyone.
Okay.
So I had a heads up. I feel that Councilman at Large does not, and Mr. Stoyles did not, and I don't know if Mr. Romano had seen the literature that, and had time to go over it to see what it actually says in that. 'Cause
Sure.
there's a lot of valuable information in it, but if we don't know about it, which I was grateful that I didn't attend.
Yeah, so I apologize for that, and I'll make sure that doesn't happen again.
Thank you. Anything else under 54? If not, let's move on to 55.
Resolution authorizing shared services agreement extension, police service, town of Dunkirk.
Any discussion, council?
No, this is just a yearly.
Okay, let's move on to new business. We have a walk-on.
Walk-on resolution 56, authorizing water maintenance rider agreement Vineyard Drive interconnect pump station.
Any discussion, council?
Does Randy need to speak on this, Randy?
Sure, you know. Do you do it both places or wait till we get out on the main floor?
No, 56. No, you don't need to do the agreement.
No, question is, do we want to speak about it now or speak about it at the main meeting?
Okay, we'll do that at the main meeting. Save your breath.
Okay.
And I think we put everybody,
Yeah, well, I had talked to Randy before on this.
we put everyone on that one as well, so when I say it won't happen again, I mean after tonight, not this resolution.
You're scoring for a beating, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Okay, is there anything else under new business?
No, sir.
Okay, can I have a motion for adjournment? Nichols, do you have a second?
Councilmember Escobedo,
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto, Councilmember Nichols, Councilmember at-large D'Amico.
Aye, we're adjourned.
I don't know if you got a copy of it, and I did bring copies just to cover that base.
You can give me one back, Vince, because I gave my copy to her.
Well, sure.
She goes, unless you can give me mine back. Okay.
I got more, I got enough copies.
When you go downstairs, would you put one in Lucius' mailbox?
Oh, sure, sure. It's just a,
Yeah, I know what this is.
thank you.
I'll tell you, they were safer. I mean, I had one guy.
Excuse me, gentlemen.
And all I did was go like this.
Thank you again. Yeah, yeah, there's some nice crowds coming. Really? Where are you?
think that as a
Council? Good to go?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's call to order the regular meeting, September 19, 2023 at 5:30 PM. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Lescoviac.
Here.
Councilmember Bamanto.
Here.
Councilmember Stoyl.
Excused.
Councilmember Nichols.
Here.
Councilmember at Large D'Amico.
Here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, before we get going, could I have Police Chief David Ortolano and Mayor Rosas, if you please can come forward?
Hi, thank you, everybody. Tonight is a special occasion. The mayor and I, on behalf of the city, want to honor someone who has been involved in local media for over 30 years and been an outstanding person in the media service force. So Dave Rowley wants to step up. Oh, okay. Gotta have a microphone. Gotta have a microphone. Dave started his career 31 years ago. He's been the news director at WDOE. He's been an outstanding community partner. A couple years ago, you and I won a community service award for our work with the media for police relations. You're going to be truly missed, Dave. We wanted to bring you here tonight because I know you have a dinner coming up on Saturday, but both the mayor and I had prior obligations, so we wanted to make sure that we honored you for all that you have done for the city and for our community. So, Mayor, you want to start?
Dave, I also want to, on behalf of all of our city residents and our city council, congratulate you on a wonderful career. You've been very professional. I know with me you've been patient, and I appreciate your professionalism. So again, on behalf of our city, we really appreciate the job you've done and the professionalism that you've shown. I have with me a certificate of recognition as well as a plaque. I will not read both, but I will read the plaque. And the plaque states, "The man behind the voice, City of Dunkirk, New York, Dave Rowley. Thank you for your 31 years of news coverage for the City of Dunkirk at WDOE. Congratulations on your retirement. A success well-deserved, an occasion worth celebrating. Mayor Wilfred Rosas and Dunkirk Common Council. September 29, 2023, which is apparently your official retirement day.
Yeah, last day.
Well, congratulations.
There's more. Not over with yet, Dave. Dave, Captain and I, on behalf of the department, we have a memorandum dated today to Dave Rowley, WDOE News Director. Subject, Community Service Award. I'm writing this memorandum of commendation to congratulate you and thank you for your 30-plus years of service to our community. The relationship between the media and the police department is a very important part of public safety. I've had the distinct pleasure and honor of knowing you since we were children in school and also working with you for 30 years as the department's community policing officer and ending as the chief of police. You've been an amazing trusted partner to myself and the department and have always been there for us, whether it's 10 at night or 10 in the morning. You've always been positive and never once gone against your word when we have discussed issues and ongoing investigations. Your media and journalist reporting ethics and integrity have been second to none and should be a model for others to follow. Every year when we honor those lost in the tragic events of 9/11, people ask, do you remember where you were on that morning? And I reply, yes, I do. Because where were we? Dave and I were in the studio doing the monthly radio show. I stayed most of the day with you and we worked together gathering as much information as possible so we could keep the community we serve aware of what was happening on that horrible day in our country's history. I will never forget that day. I want to thank you for being a good friend and for all you've done for me, the police department, and the entire community we serve. It has been an honor and privilege to work with you as a media partner. On behalf of the entire department and the community we serve, I present you with our Community Service Award thanking you for your outstanding community service and wish you a very well-earned, happy, and healthy retirement. Congratulations.
A few words. I just want to thank the mayor, the police chief, and all of you on the Common Council for this honor. Now, I have to tell you, Mayor Rosas is the 5th mayor that I've covered in the 31 years that I've been doing this. Now, the Common Council, on the other hand, I could not come up with a count. It's been quite a few people over the years. Greg Larson, I have to mention Greg, who has covered a number of these Common Council meetings. He'll fill my shoes as news director after September 29th, and he'll have to grow into the job just as I had to grow into this job after Chet Kozlowski. And if people remember Chet, and maybe he's watching this from Pittsburgh, it's possible, but I had to grow into this job after Chet, who is also a former Common Council member. So my advice to Greg, keep it local. Local news, local weather, local sports. So thank you for this honor.
On behalf of the mayor and I and the city, here's some gifts for you that we'd like to present to you for your service. Thank you, Dave. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Take care, Dave.
Thank you so much.
Okay, let's move on to certification of the prior meeting.
This is to certify that an official copy of the minutes of the Common Council meeting of Tuesday, September 5th, 2023 was presented to the mayor on Thursday, September 14, 2023. Pursuant to Section 3.03 of the Dunkirk City Charter, all items presented to the mayor are now in full force and effect. In witness whereof I have hereto set my hand in the seal of the city of Dunkirk, New York, this 19th day of September 2023.
Okay, can I have a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes and approve them as presented?
So moved.
I got a motion by Nichols and a second by Lutzkowiak.
Councilmember Luskowiak.
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto. Aye. Councilmember Nichols.
Aye.
Councilmember at-large D'Amico.
Aye, carried. Okay, privilege of the floor.
The privilege of the floor shall be extended to any person appearing for themselves, in which case the individual appearing shall be limited to 3 minutes, and to any person representing any group who shall be limited to 5 minutes. When recognized, please state your name and address. The city clerk shall have the duty of maintaining time limits, and the chair may determine in his discretion whether individuals are speaking for themselves or representing groups. The first privilege of the floor is reserved for members of the public and shall be limited to subject matter relating to local laws, resolutions, ordinances, and motions appearing on the agenda. The chair shall maintain good order and may require any speaker to cease speaking if remarks are made in bad taste or are slanderous or non-germane. The time limit specified shall be strictly adhered to, except that a chair may allow any person to complete a statement or thought started before such time expires, and a longer time may be allowed by the chair with approval of a majority of the council.
Okay, privilege of the floor is now open. Anyone like to speak on agenda items?
I would.
Please.
Good evening, council. My name is Deborah Hvalesco, and I just want to tell you I love all the proposals for our great, wonderful city of Dunkirk, New York. And I'm hoping that we can do them all. And I love the idea of more housing and apartments. I just want to propose that I feel that we should have more handicapped accessible housing in this area. Would be great, not only for our community and families, but for tourism also. We're in great need of it, and the individuals for their needs also. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak? Okay, going once, twice, 3 times. Floor is closed. Communication from the mayor, including disapproval messages. Mayor?
Mr. Chairman, I just want to inform the council that the fiscal year 2024 budget is pretty much complete. I am just putting the finishing touches on it, and I'm hoping to be able to propose it this week. Not sure of the exact day and time as of yet, but probably this week. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, communication from the public and petitions, number 1.
Number 1, notice of claim from Nicholas Monifo of 17 Beach Road for damages caused to his driveway allegedly due to excess water on Beach Road.
Any discussion, council? Okay, hearing none. Can I have a motion to refer to both the Law Department and DPW? I got a motion by Bomano, second by Nichols.
Councilmember Lescoviac?
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto?
Aye.
Councilmember Nichols?
Aye.
Councilmember at-large D'Amico?
Aye, carried.
Number 2, prior written notice from Erica Gunnarsson of 707 Washington Avenue for an alleged dead tree in front of her home.
Any discussion, council? Okay, if not, let's make another motion to refer to the Law Department and DPW. I have a motion by Letskoviak and a second by Nichols.
Councilmember Lescoviac?
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto?
Aye.
Councilmember Nichols?
Aye.
Councilmember at-large D'Amico?
Aye, carried. Reports of standing committees, boards, and commissions. Councilwoman Letskoviak.
Yes, I wanted to thank Refresco for planting some beautiful bushes on the pedestrian side of their fence on Stigelski, which forms a barrier and blocks out what is on the company's part of the fence. Citizens had alerted me to the fact that maybe their groundskeeper sprayed herbicide and it spread beyond the fence and caused devastation. But Refresco invested money and did a fantastic job, and it shows they care about their citizens. I noticed that after the outstanding work that Chautauqua County Soil and Water Conservation completed at the foot of Main and Lakefront Boulevard regarding drainage, etc., they went over their budget, we're grateful, but there were a few remaining touches, such as curbing Lakefront Boulevard and Beagle again, and I talked that over with Randy today, and they will look into amending those few little issues there. And I wanted to talk about the completion of the agrarian pavilions. Those are the names of the pavilions of our farmers market, which is every Wednesday. It's nearing completion within the next 30 days. It looks awesome already, and something to look forward to in the spring of 2024. The last farmers market this year is Wednesday, October 2nd. And the next Downtown Revitalization Initiative meeting is Tuesday, September 26th at the Clarion at 5 p.m. This is a board meeting, but the public is welcome and will be able to even comment at the end. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. Councilman Bomano.
Yes. Al, thank you for doing some investigating for me up on 5th Street in Dove. Appreciate it. Mr. Bobson, thank you for what you've been doing, handling these issues with the land, with the two parties, so thank you. And Randy, we talked a little bit earlier about 5th and Eagle Street. If you can look into that, what's going on in the middle of the road there with the water.
Sure. Will do.
And also on 5th and Canary with the steps and the railing they want put in there from years ago.
We'll look at it tomorrow and give you a report.
Thank you so much. That's all I have.
Okay. Councilwoman Nichols.
It's taking a little bit longer than normal with getting brush collection due to the storm that we had in July. But please be patient with our DPW. It's been a vast amount of brush that has been placed at the curb. We're trying to do it because this would be the last pickup of the year unless we had another, quote, July storm. Randy, since 2021, do you have an estimate of approximately how many city streets have been either paved, surfaced, milled, and resurfaced?
Sure. Councilwoman Nichols, the chair of the DPW committee,
asked me to make a map. So this goes back about 8 years, and we've done about $1 million worth of work per year. 5 million, none of that was city ad valorem taxes. It was all grants by New York State DOT CHIPS, 5 million, and we had a $2 million grant, New York State DOT for Route 5, and then the mayor got another $1 million through various connections with the state. So we did $8 million. It amounts to 20 miles of the 55 miles of the city done recently. So we've done a lot, and we have hit the worst streets, and we've balanced it out between wards. We did about $250,000 in each ward every year over time, and I'm really proud of working with you in the DPW committee, working with the mayor, working with all the council to identify those worst roads and to hit them. And we also fixed the drainage. Before we repaved and resurfaced, we fixed the drainage because water on the road is what takes the road apart. So we did that. We invested in, we did it carefully and slowly, made a good plan, and as you can see, the map is almost half full.
And but there is a time frame when road is, one road or street is repaved, there is a time frame that you have to wait before that road can be readdressed. Is that not correct?
To be re-eligible for CHIPS, it's a 10-year time period.
Thank you. The Whispering Giant will be coated this week, according to Jason, so he'll be having his winter coat put on. And between Glenn and Ed Schober and Randy, we are working on what kind of enclosure will be constructed around him to protect him from the elements. One thing I want to touch on is that there's been questions out in the public that residents, we take your concerns of planting a tree at the point very serious. Our guys have to go in and finish getting the 90-plus trees, the dead ash, out of there first, and then the two groups that will be reforesting and working together with each other will be planting probably in the spring, as I advised one, and I know Randy did too. Spring is the best time, so they have 3 seasons before they get attacked by another heavy winter. What I'm urging residents is, if you've got a sapling in your yard, please, please, don't take it upon yourself and go to the point or the first ward to plant that tree. Our streets department has our parks department with Jason has a plan, and he's working with the other 2 groups so that they know where the trees should be planted. So if they want to do that, they can contact Jason or Randy. And as Natalie said, Farmers Market is near completion. I stopped and talked to the gentleman today. They are cleaning up and making much headway. The 4th side of the roofing is on. It's going to be just very, very, very nice for all our local vendors there. And I'm sure the farmers are going to be pleased. I can't wait to see tomorrow what their comments are going to be when they come and vend. I think that's it.
Okay, Alan, I had reached out to Wanda last week on some issues going on up on Lucas Avenue. Can we double back on that? And it was some rental issues with, some garbage and rodents and et cetera. Sure. If you could check on that for me, I'd appreciate that.
We'll do that.
Okay. All right, let's move on to unfinished business.
Wait a minute, Chico, I just have one. I promised a couple residents. Sorry, it's just a short term, and it's directed mainly to the mayor. If he has made any more attempt, or if we're not going to make any attempt on resurrecting Brooks Hospital. I promised the group of elderly people that I would ask the question, and I'm bringing it forth to you now.
Mayor?
I just want to, again, reiterate what I've already mentioned. that the Brooks Hospital issue has very little to do with the city. We are using as much influence as we can to urge the governor to release funding, but the final decision is up to the board as to where they go, and the final decision as far as funding goes is up to the state. So if there are city residents that are interested in voicing their opinions, they should be reaching out to the board of directors of Brooks Hospital or the governor herself. Thank you.
But they think that, and I know we've said it before, and you've said it before, Vince has said it, and Michael said it, that the DRI money cannot be used for a project such as that, and it needs to come from more than me saying that.
Right. So,
sorry.
So the DRI funding is, the hospital's not eligible for that, but there are other funding sources at the state and federal levels. So maybe those are funding sources that need to be pursued. The issue right now is the plan that the hospital has put in apparently has not been approved at the health department, New York State Health Department. So again, I'm not sure what the issues actually are there. We have been involved as much as we can. I have made the governor aware that this is an issue we're very concerned about. But again, the final decisions as to where it goes is up to the board of directors, and the funding, that final decision is up to the governor.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, let's move on to unfinished business. Mr. Meyer, would you come back up again? I know we did a little bit in the workshop. If you'd like to say a few words real quick, and then what I'd like to do, if I could, Mayor and Treasurer Mark Woods, would you like to take the check?
Hi, Brian Meyer, 49 Greco Lane.
Yes.
I got the report for the Dunkirk Flea Market 2023. Total amount taken in from the vendors was $2,140. The expenses were $762.93. And I have a check for $1,377.07.
Nice job. Thank you again, Mr. Myers.
One more porta potty.
Okay, let's go into pre-filed resolutions, number 53.
Resolution accepting grant for Summer Better Than Others Camp, Chautauqua County.
Any discussion, council? Okay, hearing none, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Lescoviac.
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto. Aye. Councilmember Nichols.
Aye.
Councilmember at-large D'Amico.
Aye, carried.
Number 54, resolution adopting the pro-housing community pledge, supporting quality, affordable, and varied housing for Dunkirk's future.
Any discussion, council?
Yes, I wanted to ask Vince, our Director of the Economic Development Department, to explain the importance of this pledge in regards to how companies are interested in this information because of a workforce that they need.
Yes, thank you for the question. This program, Pro-Housing Communities, arose out of an executive order issued by Governor Hochul late in July. It's basically to address the shortage across the state of housing in New York State, and we have the same issue here in Dunkirk, and it's an issue that we have developers that are looking to do private development, single family and type homes here, new homes, and we also have developers interested in larger projects that would involve workforce housing. And basically, one of the first questions that was asked upon the mayor and attorney Mr. Bobstein and I in a meeting with Wells senior management was, Mayor, what is your housing plan? Because it is something so critical and important as the industrial expansion that we've seen here in Dunkirk, and we are very fortunate for the investment and expansion that we are seeing here, and we're going to be seeing more in the very near future, more activity. Having adequate, safe, affordable, and good quality housing is extremely important. Varied types of housing, from market rate, single family to some more high density. And we will be looking at some projects here in the DRI footprint, and that could potentially receive funding from DRI. As we heard tonight from a citizen that the need for more handicap accessible housing to address those that have mobility challenges and basically our aging population. So this program will allow the City of Dunkirk, if accepted in the program and if council approves it tonight, to have a better opportunity for grant money that's out there. We will score higher on all our grant applications, and this is something that's very good for the community, and it will address our housing for the future.
Any other discussion, council?
I do. Had I not gone to the economic development meeting yesterday, I would not have gotten the paperwork on this resolution to read through it. And in all fairness, Councilman Bomano and Councilman at Large D'Amico and Stoyles just were handed that information today. And in all fairness, I don't know if there's a deadline that you have to pass this resolution by, but I think for them to go over it, especially with Mr. Stoyles not here, that we postpone or table this resolution until, in all fairness to them, that they fully understand this. And I don't know if there is a deadline that this resolution has to be passed by. And only you can answer that.
No, I can't. Honestly, I'm not aware of a deadline.
Mayor, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to clarify that this is merely a resolution stating that we, as a community, want to push forward and be considered for some of these many funds that the governor has allocated for housing opportunities across the state. That's basically what this is in a nutshell. It's placing the city in an advantageous position to compete against other communities across the state for these many funds that the governor has laid out there for housing opportunities. What we've learned through the DRI process is that the DRI funds, while there are $10 million, are not enough to complete all the projects that have been proposed. Among those projects that have been proposed are very good housing projects that may be rejected. But there are other funding opportunities to fund these projects, and this is part of the process of placing the city in a better position to receive these funds.
From what I'm hearing, I don't think anybody is opposed to it. I know myself personally, would I like the opportunity to at least read this, and if I had any questions before I vote, to at least have a night to read it. I think that's all that's what I'm hearing.
Right.
You know, what is it a big deal to table it? Is it going to cost anything down the road if we tabled it for a meeting?
No, I don't believe it'll cost anything other than there may be other communities that have already passed them, and they will be in the forefront. That's all.
Councilman Bomano.
Hearing what the mayor says about this, this is a competitive thing that's going on, and I don't want to be in any situation where we have a chance to lose this. So I'm ready to vote on this tonight and vote yes.
Okay, so I got a motion on the floor to table. Is there a second? Okay, hearing none. At this point, clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Leskoviak.
Or, I'm sorry.
Aye.
We're on pre-filed, yes, sir.
Yes, sir, that's right.
Councilmember Bamanto.
Aye.
Councilmember Nichols.
No.
Councilmember at Large D'Amico.
No. All right, Mr. Bobstein, we're at a push here. How's this work? Fails. Okay.
Failed to get a majority.
I would like a full council here, and I would at least like Mr. Stoyles to be here to have this
I
information
just want the
as well.
opportunity to read it. And I'm not saying I'm against it or not. I just got it tonight.
I understand what you're trying to say, and I think if we could have a pledge from Attorney Bobstein going forward not to do that, and I just think this is something good we need to have in our back pocket at all times as a pledge, and it is just a pledge that we're agreeing to.
It's not that we want to kill this resolution, Mr. Bobstein. We just want, in all fairness, to have an actual hands-on with a complete council. That's all I'm saying.
And I appreciate that. Just with all due respect, this was sent out last week as part of the agenda, and we did not get any phone calls relative to it. And I would just ask that that be a consideration going forward.
Fair enough. Let's move on to 55.
Resolution 55, authorizing shared services agreement extension, police services, Town of Dunkirk.
Any discussion, council? Hearing none, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Lescoviac.
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto.
Aye.
Councilmember Nichols.
Aye.
Councilmember at-large D'Amico.
Aye, carried.
I have a walk-on, sir.
That is correct.
Walk-on resolution number 56, 2023, authorizing water maintenance rider agreement, Vineyard Drive Interconnect Pump Station.
Okay, I need a motion to bring off the floor and to put it on the agenda.
So moved.
I got a motion by Nichols and a second by Babano.
Councilmember Lescoviac.
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto.
Aye.
Councilmember Nichols.
Aye.
Councilmember at-large D'Amico.
Aye, carried. Okay, resolution 56-2023 is now on the agenda for discussion. Okay, no discussion?
I would just say thank you, Randy, for all your hard work putting this together with, and I know how hard you work with the pump stations and getting them up and running and making sure they are running correctly.
Okay, I just need a motion and a second to be able to vote on it. Nichols got motion, seconded by Bomano.
Councilmember Lescoviac.
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto.
Aye.
Councilmember Nichols.
Aye.
Councilmember at-large D'Amico.
Aye, carried. Okay, second privilege of the floor.
Councilman,
Yes, I'm
before we
sorry.
go in there, may I ask a question to the city attorney?
Sure.
I'd like to go back to 54. I see some confused faces out in the audience here tonight. After this vote that just happened a few minutes ago, what happens to Resolution 54?
So a couple of things can happen. One thing is that we're going to have to explain to one of the housing applicants that it's very likely that we will not be getting the additional credits that would come with a program like this. And I think unfortunately that could present real problems for a very significant housing project here in the city that, as was pointed out at the very beginning, when Wells talked to the city, the mayor, and the first thing that they said on the top of their list, because we're looking at retaining 400 jobs, but we're also looking at expanding another 200 some odd jobs. They said that housing was number one relative to their hopes and dreams for their workforce here in the city. So we're actually stepping backwards relative to not adopting this resolution.
That's how it looks to me.
So can it come back? I would tell you that it can come back, and we can. I'd like to know from council what the issue is with this. We didn't hear anything, as I said, relative to this prior to just now, that there's any kind of issue with it. And so I'm really not sure what the problem with this is, because it really is just a pledge that we support housing initiatives in the city of Dunkirk. So, yes, it can come back. It can come back in some fashion, possibly, if there's interest in doing so. But we would need to hear from those council members who voted against it. I mean, because it really was voted against. It wasn't tabled. I mean, the motion to table failed. So I don't know what can get fixed in here. But obviously, the law department would work with any council member to try to address concerns so that this can be adopted, and work with the mayor and Mr. DeJoy to try to resurrect this in some form, and then additionally try to explain to anyone who's interested in housing developments here in the city that this is not reflective of anything other than folks really wanted some additional time, as I understand it. So that's the best I can tell you at this point.
So I did get the email agenda like I always do, and I get it sent to my house. The police bring it over to me. So I'm going to ask Councilman D'Amico and Council Lady Nancy, what would it take to get this back on the agenda for the next meeting?
We didn't say it was a done deal, Marty.
It is now.
No, it can be.
Is it a done deal right now? As we sit tonight, right now? The law department tells us it's a done deal?
It can be represented in 2 weeks at the next council meeting, can it not be?
It can be. I think it has to be changed, though, to reflect the concerns that apparently people have about this, and I don't know what those concerns are.
Well, just let me tell you, I called the office today and you were not in, and I could not get a definite time frame of when you would be back into the office. So I did reach out to your office today, just so you know that.
And I appreciate that. And I would just say that you also have my telephone number. Direct contact is also available, and I apologize.
May I, sir?
Go ahead.
If the issue is time, is it possible to resubmit this after they've had a few days to take a look at it and possibly have it approved outside of council?
No, it should come back to the full council, and I would encourage it be considered at the next meeting of the council. Whatever form it comes back.
All I'm going to say is I was handed this in the workshop. I just want an opportunity to read it before I vote on something that I haven't had a chance to read.
So, but going forward now that you have this literature in front of you to read, does it have to get tweaked a little bit to get back in the agenda, or can it be the same exact thing?
I need to know what the concern is from the council members in order to answer that.
Well, then I will get back to you. I'm sure Councilman at Large will get back to you, and once Mr. Stoyles gets the information and understands it, then he will.
Excellent.
All right, let's move on to the second privilege of floor.
Yes, sure. Should I read it?
Yeah, just open. You go ahead.
The privilege of the floor shall be extended to any person appearing for themselves, in which case that individual appearing shall be limited to 3 minutes, and to any person representing a group who shall be limited to 5 minutes. When recognized, please state your name and address. The city clerk shall have the duty of maintaining such time limits, and the chair may determine in his discretion whether individuals are speaking for themselves or representing groups. The second privilege of the floor is reserved for members of the public to speak on any subject pertinent to the affairs of the city government. The chair shall maintain good order and may require a speaker to cease speaking if remarks are made in bad taste or slanderous or non-germane. The time limit specified shall be strictly adhered to, except that the chair may allow any person to complete a statement or thought started before such time has expired, and a longer time may be allowed by the chair with approval of the majority of the council.
Thank you. Floor is now open. Please state your name.
Hi, Arthur Page, 33 Wright Park. Just a quick question. There was only one speaker earlier for the time allotted on the floor. Do we have any extra time from that that could be devoted to Councilman at Large reading the document to possibly resolve the matter today for the housing? It looked like 2 or 3 pages. I'm not sure if there's any extra time that could be devoted that's allowed in the meeting.
No. No, I just want an opportunity to be able to read through it. If I had any questions, we have questions be answered.
Okay, I just didn't know if there would be any extra time for people to read through that during the meeting, because we're ahead of schedule, it would seem. Thank you.
Thank you.
John Ramos, 1867 East Middle Road, Silver Creek. So, I had the privilege of attending an event this weekend, on Friday, last Friday, that the governor was there and some governor's representatives. And I had an opportunity to ask them about the hospital. And, because of course I have some property that I've sent them information on, because in my opinion, it has the best infrastructure, thanks to Randy and everyone else that's run water lines and everything else down there. So of course I have an interest in the hospital. So I asked a question, and I was told that with some support from the city, that things could look pretty good for us. And I'm thinking of putting the hospital, like I said, on Greco Lane or Main Street Extension. We own the property from there to Bennett Road. We have a half a mile of 90 where the land is, and there's a pond there. We can't see it anymore, but there is a pond there. So as far as infrastructure and stuff like this, I thought it was great. I'm here asking for support, and I believe with support from all of you, there's a possibility that hospital stays in the Dunkirk area. And that's all I have to say. If anybody has any questions, feel free.
Thank you.
All right.
Would anyone else like to speak? Going once? Twice? 3 times? Second privilege is closed. Could I have a motion for adjournment? I got Nichols and a second by Liscoviak.
Councilmember Liscoviak. Councilmember Bamanto. Aye. Councilmember Nichols. Aye. Councilmember D'Amico.
Aye, we're adjourned.
So how's Mary?